Split 3 is today's program. Welcome to week 2 of the Clio SoF League. Still from Rudskogen. Yeah, last week many of our drivers that have been in the top ranks are not in this race because most of them went up to Split 2. So a fresh group of people will definitely have an impact on the Split 3 championship. Split through, where did this come from? I don't know, I don't care. What I do care is last season's top 5, which were Aurélien Levrev, Jürgen Nagel, Gareth Winslade, Toby Garan and Cameron Richardson. Out of these 5, only Toby Garan is in this split. Maybe he can repeat a top 5 finish. We will see. Maybe the first big indicator will be the starting grid, so let's take a look at it. This is our starting grid from Lachna to Kennedy. The lights are red, which means we are about to go racing, ladies and gentlemen. Split 3 is on its way. Lap 1 out of 10. And will we see shenanigans in the opening sections? One had a bad start, which was Richard Kennedy. I heard something. I don't see anything though, but I heard something. I'm already writing down turn 1 just in case, because I heard a lot of clonk, but we have not seen anything. So maybe it was a lot, maybe not. All I know is that Richard Kennedy, who was in last, is now in 17th. So something must have happened, but nothing too crazy, because all 19 cars are still there pretty close together. Ewan Topley fighting against Liam Roberts for P3. Liam Roberts, a new driver, part of Stop Go Racing. You might have noticed in the starting grid section that we have a second car with the same livery. Welcome to the Clio SoF. I hope Stop Go Racing will enjoy their stint here. Liam Roberts, and where is the second driver? Trevor Evans. Welcome. Sebastian Müller, last week he won his race. This week he is in P5. Here in Split 3, Aaron Williams and James Moore. Little touching moment. And now they go 3 wide. Or almost 3 wide, depends on how aggressive James Hallcrow will be into turn 1. Aaron Williams, he stepped out of it, and this is exactly what costs him. Oh man, this is you feel for something like that. Like, okay, we are about to go 3 wide. Nope, I'm gonna step out of it, do the smart thing, and as a result, get in an instant. We have 2 cars in the pits, Richard Kennedy and Toby Garan. Maybe jump starts, maybe damage. Like I said, I heard something, but I have not seen something. So yeah. What I do see though is that Ps 1 and 2 are almost 3 seconds away from P3. Roberts going wide, losing ground as a result, now in P6 at his SoF debut. Paul Remnant, we are familiar with him. Usually in Split 4, So great to have him here in split 3. Shows progression. And Aaron Williams, yeah, he lost a lot of ground as a result. He's now in P16, one of the Orpington drivers in this field. The other one is Nathan Mead. And Richard Nichols is also in here as well. So the chickens are plentiful in split 3. I think this... Oh, Trevor Evans. Lock up. James Moore cannot capitalize and instead even loses positions. James Hallcrow. Now, 3 wide. Oh, this could be for the thumbnail. It went okay. It went okay. I was preparing myself for the worst. Adam Lubak, we have seen him last week as well. I think it's split 4 if I remember correctly. Not entirely sure though, but I remember the name. And yeah, Trevor Evans of Stop Go Racing, he's in P8. James Moore behind him, who had a great battle with Sebastian Müller last week. Speaking of Sebastian Müller, he's in P3. So far, good season. But 4.2 seconds is a lot. No, Ewan Topley gets P3 back. Ewan Topley gets P3 back. And the best thing about such battles is, for the top 2, that it costs a lot of time. 4.7 seconds between Mead and Topley. Lachner is leading, who had a good race last week in Oulton Park, was in split 4 on his way to a podium, but then he made a driving mistake that cost him big time. He retired from the race with a damage. So let's hope for him that history does not repeat itself, because this time it would be even higher, because he is in P1 at the moment. Müller, Nichols, these two know each other from split 4 racing. Richard Nichols. I used the sentence last week, I will use it again, even though there was nothing too crazy here. Kein Kind von Traurigkeit. I hope you did your homework and looked up what that means. If not, homework for this week. 6 minutes almost gone. We are in lap 4. And we notice a battle for P18. Yeah! Oh, not so yeah. Richard Kennedy and Toby Garan, who drives for the Vatican. Sadly, P19 means His Holiness was not with him in this race. But either way, we have a big gap between 1 and 2, we mentioned this, but we also have quite a bit of a gap between 6 and 7, 2.8 seconds. Then a little gap of 1.3 seconds between 8 and 9, and then it's more or less back to back to back to back until the final 2 drivers. Müller losing a position to Liam Roberts. Maybe slow down because he lost a bit of ground as well. We talked about it in the other splits. But still, Sebastian Müller, there's 2 seconds to the cars behind him, so P6 wouldn't be bad for a driver we usually assume with split 4 racing. Same for Richard Nichols, who is the split 4 champion, if you remember. But don't look at his incident count. Don't look at it. Nope. Halftime. Kennedy, Toby Garan, this time without touching. Yeah, better. Let's call it better. Aaron Williams. I think this is the first time he is in split 3 ever. So, welcome. Sadly, with that incident in P14. Trevor Evans. We talked a lot about stop-go racing. We see a lot of them. He is under attack from Luke Alder. the highest rated driver in this lobby. And in P12 is Mateusz Kocza. Marcin Rejewski, you might have heard from him, who is my, hey, this Polish name you have to pronounce it that way guy. Thank you so much for it. Told me that it's probably Kocza, not Kocza. What I have talked about, used for how often, I don't know. But apparently it's Mateusz Kocza. Mateusz, if you're watching, I hope it is indeed the case. If not, correct me. Yeah, I'm impressed by the pace from P1 and 2 compared to the rest. I mean, Ewan Topley, he got away from Nichols, Roberts and Müller. Oh, wait, Müller, speaking about him, I said he had a 2-second gap to P7. Not anymore. 0.8 seconds it is. Nichols, under attack from Liam Roberts, who has a solid debut. And there's his teammate. Little touch, but nothing too crazy. Yeah, we get a lot of airtime for this team. There is another driver, or there are 2 other drivers in this team. One we will see tomorrow in the Split 4 race. Spoiler alert. But getting even more airtime than his teammates will be tough. Because we see a lot of Roberts and Trevor Evans. Oh, he dropped down to P16 though. And Müller drops to P7. He is dropping and dropping and dropping. Sadly for him, like I said, last week he won Split 4. Second time on a podium in his career, SoF career. And this time, I talked about it in the past that Sebastian is a driver who usually qualifies higher and then drops down in the race. Last week was not the case, but this week's feels like old school Sebastian Müller. But still, P7 is a decent result, don't get me wrong. Big battle here for P10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's basically from P10 downwards to P17. Mateusz Kocza, Luke Alder. I'm happy to have Mateusz back in the SoF. I mentioned it last week. In Season 2, he did every single race. Was a mainstay in Split 2 back then. Missed out on Season 3, but now in Week 2 he has appeared for the second time. Richard Nichols flashing his lights. I don't know why. We have not seen it. I also have not made a lot of notes. This is usually a good sign in terms of crashiness. But we also talked about it, overtaking in Rudskogen is not the easiest thing in the world. You need a mistake like this, for example. This is an opportunity. No, Kocza stays behind Luke Alder. Stays in P12. But there's still time. 2.5 minutes. Florian Lachner almost 3 seconds in front of Nathan Mead. Many lockups up the hill. And big gap between Mead and Topley, who also got away. We talked about it. 1.5 seconds is a decent gap. It's basically one slowdown of safety. Doesn't mean that you need to get a slowdown, Ewan. Just saying. 2-minute warning. 2 more laps. here in Split 3. Kieran Kumsky, P13, behind him Aaron Williams and Paul Remnant. And there's fights for many positions. And this is good. Aaron Williams, P14. Probably not that happy with how the race went. But maybe he can get P13. Maybe. We will see. He tries. At the very least, he is trying. Ewan Topley and Liam Roberts are getting closer together. Still 0.9 seconds is more than fine, but closer nevertheless. Katja still tries to get around Luke Alder. But Luke does what he needs to do to stay in P11. Final lap of the race has begun for the top 5 now, with this group following soon after. So not much time, crunch time. But stay calm, don't try anything crazy. So far I don't have the feeling that we will see something crazy, but you know the commentators curse, so zip it. At least in that regard. I'm still watching the gap between you and Topley and Liam Roberts, 0.8. It is getting smaller, but this is still safe. 0.5. Let's follow that with one eye at least. 0.3, they are now at the hairpin. But Ewan, as long as he drives defensively, he should be safe. There we have it. The battle for P3. Topley, the Blobby, and Liam Roberts, the stop-go racing driver. And I think Topley gets it. Lachner wins. Congratulations. Dominant victory. 4.3 seconds. Nathan Mead, also great pace. 7.5 seconds to these guys. Topley, Roberts, Nichols, James Moore. Müller stays in P7. James Hallcrow, he was able to get away from that group. This big bunch here. Look at the size of this group. What was that? What was that? We will have to take a look at it afterwards. If it is reviewable, it will be part of the highlight reel. And also P18 and 19 have crossed the finish line. Like I said, congratulations Florian Lachner and to the top 10. We are now jumping to the second half of the results screen, and now we will find out how it affects the overall standings. Okay, that was the Split 3 race, and now we take a look how this affects the overall standings and of course the Split 3 standings, especially after I mentioned that many of the last week's Split 3 drivers were in Split 2, so we'll see how the championship was affected. But now let's find the Split 3 participants for a moment. I hope I don't miss any. Nathan Mead, P19. 19th overall, not bad. Not bad. With slowly scrolling where we'll find them. I see you in Topley, for example. Florian Lachner, our race winner. So yeah, looks good so far. And as we mentioned already, 111 drivers have driven in those two opening weeks of the Clio SoF. And now the split 3 standings as a whole. And Nathan Mead, Ewan Topley, and Diego Chanero, who was not in this race, we talked about it. Race winner Florian Lachner is in P4 and Mark Kelly is in P5. But the season is young, of course, so this will change, especially with depending on how often Split 3 drivers will be in Split 2. Similar to the story we have in Split 2, of course. This is a big decider. But this is also one of the reasons why we have also the drop round system for the split standings, just as the overall standings have them, to make it possible. But yeah, how many drivers did we have in Split 3 thus far? 35. 35, so it's a big mix, but this is to be expected. And yeah, I'm curious to see how this will develop across the season, because yeah, last season we had interesting stories in Split 3. I hope this repeats itself, but we will see. But now I will leave you for today with some highlights, of course, and then tomorrow the final race of week 2, Split 4. I hope you're looking forward to it, because I am. See you there.